Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is John, and this is going to be episode number 2 of Project Z. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different, though. It's based on the car, but it's not on the car. On the last one, we got the new frame in the car. Today, we're going to head to the shop, and we're actually going to build a bead roller. I've been wanting a bead roller for a very long time for a few other projects I had in mind, but for this, I need one to do the floors, the rear of the car, and some on the firewall, and more sheet metal around the car. So let's go to the shop and build that. All right, we are at the shop. Over the last couple of weeks, I welded up this. I'm going to put a link to the description from the good guy at Make It Custom. He has all the DXF files on his website to build this. As you can see, just a simple stand and this, 2 side plates, a couple of pieces that run across, welded that up, and so that's where I'm at right now. Now we need to fit all the gears on the back side, get the shafts machined up, so let's do that. So this is what we got so far. I bought a cheap little bead roller from Princess Auto. It was like 160 bucks. But it came with all the gears, a couple of dies. So this die, another set of dies. And, well, I need something bigger. I need a 36 inch. Well, I didn't need a 36 inch. I wanted a 36 inch. But I needed something a little bit bigger than an 8-inch throat. So what I did is, I can't get those out, but I built this, drilled some with the annular cutter to accept some of these brass or bronze self-lubricating bushings. So we need to make some longer shafts. Now the problem with this is it's not exactly 1 inch, and we don't have any 1-inch shaft on the rack. We got 1 1/8, so I need to machine down both ends. And I also need to, now that I'm using 1 1/8, I need to make this removable because I don't feel like machining down the entire shaft. So I need one end of the bead roller to be removable. So I'm going to weld these little guys on top of here. Now there's not going to be a whole lot of pressure here, and it's very, very low RPM. So I'm going to weld these guys on the top. They're threaded. Weld that on the top and the bottom, and then we will drill some holes so that this can be bolted in. These bushings will also be machined down to 1 inch thick. This is 1 inch flat bar. So yeah, let's go cut some material. Alright, so we're going to go over to the lathe now. We're going to part these off at 1 inch because the flat bar where these sit in is exactly 1 inch. The reason I chose this route rather than the bushings that came with it, machine it down to accept, or machine the shaft down to accept the bushings that came with the bead rollers, because these are readily available at Napa. I wasn't sure if I could get replacement parts from Princess Auto for the bead roller, so I just got these at Napa. These are like 10 bucks, cheap, simple, and it's really not that much work to part them off in the lathe. So let's go do that. Alright, so we got these all turned down to 1 inch, so they will go into here. Now, the next step is to actually get this mounted in the back here for the 2 shafts that run along. Now, if I would have thought about this beforehand, I would have made this piece just that little bit longer, and then I could drill and tap on here and bolt it through. But sometimes my mind just doesn't think that far ahead. So I have these little guys, threaded 3/8 bolts. I'm just going to weld those right on top of here. Boom, like so. And then we can drill some holes right there, and we can actually mount it bolted on. That way we can remove all the shaft, or both shafts, and all the parts and pieces without having to cut any welds. Because we are using 1 1/8" shaft, so the center is going to be 1 1/8", and then at the end here for the gears is going to be machined down to 1 inch, just under. So somehow I need this to be removable. The front bottom bushing holder is going to be welded in place. The top one is going to be adjustable, so somehow, but it won't be kind of removable. So the easiest way is to have this back piece removable. So let's go weld these guys on here, and after that let's go machine some shafts. Alright, so we got those welded on there. Like I said earlier, there's not going to be any stress on the back here. It's basically to hold the shafts in place. This is going to be spinning really, really low RPM, and I ended up having to cut a little bit, about 1/4 inch off the top here, just so I can get it in, but it sits in there perfectly. And those two braces, or the two pieces of flat bar that I have in there, ended up working perfectly. It just sits right in there. So all I need to do now is drill some holes, boom, boom, and then I can bolt that guy in there. Perfect. Alright, so we got the holes drilled now. So as you can see, now I can just take those 4 bolts off, pull this piece right out, and then take my shafts out, and it's perfect. We'll just knock those in later. Like I said, I just use an annular cutter, 1 1/4". So what I'll do is just take a center punch a couple of center punches inside there, and it'll lock these bushings right in place. Really, like I said earlier, this thing's not going to be, it's not high speed. It doesn't need to be press fit, and it'll be easier to change out the bushings if they ever wear out. So awesome. Next step, let's go machine some shafts. There, that's a little better. I ended up having to put the centering bar in there just because I was getting a lot of chatter on the end there. I didn't think 4 inches was going to do it, but yeah, there we go. Much better. Alright, so I got the shaft machined down to 1 inch. I got 4.5 inches to right there. So the brass bushing is going to sit right there. Now from here, 3.5 inches this way, I need to machine it down to 0.98 to accept this, the gears. So the gears will sit back here, and then eventually I will put a motor on it, but one of the shafts is going to have the handle right there. So I'm going to machine that, and then we got to flip them around and do the exact same on the other side. All right, moment of truth. So I got this first 1 inch machined down for this bushing. Ooh, that's nice.
Nice.
Perfect. And then on the back side here is the gears. So these will lock in with a set screw, so I just have to grind down or sand down a little flat spot on here. I don't have a mill in the shop here, so it's unfortunate, but sanding pad will do. Let's do the other 3. Alright, so we got the first shaft done, as you can see here. There's the bushing. I just need to tap it in a little bit, but so there's that end. I still need to tack this bushing mount in. I'll just throw a couple of hot tacks in there, pop that bushing out, and then give it a pass up here and here. Really, there's not going to be a whole lot of tension on it. Could leave the bushing in, but I'll pop it out, weld it. Need to take this one back to the lathe and machine it down another about 30 thou. This is all metric, that's why it's odd. So I'll machine it down to accept the bead roller die right here. And then we'll do number 2. Alright, so I got the bottom shaft machined. Like I said, it's 1.1 inch, so that thing ain't gonna go anywhere. The gear is on. I'm eventually gonna put a motor on this so that it's pedal driven, but as you can see, she rolls. So I had to machine this side down that little bit to accept the bottom die. I'll have to do the same with the top. I went ahead and threaded the end so I can lock this guy in place and set them. So let's go for round 2. Top one, and then we need to make this top piece slide up and down. So we'll do a little bit of sanding on this guy. It's a little tight, but we're gonna run to the hardware store, grab a bolt, and then weld a nut on the top here so that we can make a handle and make this top bar go up and down. Awesome. All right, so we got shaft number 2 machined up. So this one's a little bit shorter just to clear the handle. The gears mesh nicely. The shaft is sitting down a little bit, so there's a little bit of play there. But once that comes up to where it needs to be, they mesh perfectly. Now we need to figure out a way to raise and lower this. I need to find a bolt that has a tapered head on it. We'll drill a hole, weld the nut on here, and you can just spin that. So let's go see what we can find. All right, so I got it figured out, but I ran into a problem here. So I used this guy with it was like a flange bolt, but I seem to be binding a little bit here. So I'm gonna change it up, go upsize this with a tapered head bolt. I thought this would work. The free spin's nice, but as soon as you put a little bit of pressure on there, it binds up a little bit. So I'm gonna change that up. I did, however, manage to roll a couple. So I'm gonna change that up, go a little heavier duty, and I also found a motor. All right, so here's what I've come up with. I found I didn't find any tapered head bolts, but I did find this. It's a 1/2 inch Allen head bolt. But what I'm gonna do is I'm machining basically a cap for this guy to sit into. So I drilled a 1/2 inch hole into this, and so that'll sit in there, and it'll be able to free spin, and I'll just weld this guy right to my height adjustment for the top roller. So I think that should work. If not, I might have to just order a tapered head bolt from online because I can't find anything local here. But I'm thinking this should work. Let's give it a whirl. Alright, so this is what I came up with. So I machined this guy. So that's going to go over top of here. I got the coffee shakes this morning. So it's perfectly, I got a little bit of play there. Alright, and then this guy gets threaded. Oh man, I really do have the coffee shakes. Coffee, 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 coffee. So that guy will go on there. So that cup will get welded onto there. And this nut will get welded onto there. I got to open this up a little bit more now that I upsized it to 1/2 inch. And then my handle will get welded to there, and then bing bang boom, done. Alright, so I got it all welded up. That piece that I machined up with the bolt, I got the nut welded on the top. Boom. Pretty smooth too. So without further ado, let's give it a whirl. The only thing I do need to do is I need to machine up 2 more locking collars. That cheap Princess Auto bead roller that I bought to steal the gears and the rollers from only came with 2 for some reason. So I need to make 2 more locking collars just so these shafts can't slide back and forth. But we're gonna give it a whirl. So here we go. And I don't have the motor mounted yet, and with time I'll get that. I need to find the foot pedal. It's somewhere in the shed. So Dom or Noah, gonna spin that. Okay, spin it. Oh, other way. Okay, a little bit slower. Go, go, go. There we go. Keep going. Keep going. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Awesome. Look at that. Now that's just on 18 gauge aluminum. I know steel, turning it by hand with steel is a lot harder, but that works slick. That's awesome. Awesome. That's exciting. All right, so that's going to conclude episode number 2 on the bead roller. I know in the beginning of this episode I said we were going to do some tubing work, but I ran into some issues with the car itself. So I need some more time to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with the car. But look at that. My boys wanted to do a little project for Papa, and we did our first little project with the bead roller. So that's pretty cool. As always, like the cool guys say, like, subscribe, and share this video. We'll see you on the next one.